Hi, my name is Sergio Peralta. I am working in a coding challenge. The first step was choose one of these 40 ideas. I am very interested in the 26th idea. Okay, music suggestion tools. Consists in build a wrapper for the Spotify API created to the tracks the music you listen and generates a playlist with similar qualities but the songs you haven't heard before. So, taking this in mind, I was the final user, so I am trying to figure out how the system will work. My first steps is create a user history on Trello and define the product features, and then create a user experience design. My next step is create a low-level user experience design using pencil and paper for trying to figure out how the system will work. This is very helpful for me because I am trying to understand how my system will work and the software architectural design that I will use, and if I can use a API, I can use a backend, I can use a database, if my software will work on Node.js, if I will use some library, a special library like Spotify API. As part of my code challenge, I have some requirements like use certain technologies like React.js, Node.js, deploy it on Amazon Web Cloud, and I think that my software is running on microservices because Spotify is one of my microservices. My backend using Node.js is running a authentication process and then communicating through Spotify and get a token. For trying to explain how my system works, I create this graph. For example, I have three parts. My front end, the Spotify music suggestion tool. My backend is a API gateway, and also have a microservices Spotify. When my user is requesting a login, my API gateway send a request to Spotify. This request has certain parameters like a client ID and a secret token ID from the Spotify API. Then my Spotify API account make a callback. This callback return with an access token and a refresh token to my backend API, and then I can make a other callback to my front-end application. After that, my front-end has an access token for make a request to a Spotify microservice in a direct way. In my deployment process, I am using S3 Bucket Static Web Service from Amazon Web Services, and after that, CloudFront for performance. And my backend is running on Amazon Web Service Elastik Beanstalk. It's like VM, but a special one because it's running with Node.js and pre-configured with. This is my S3 bucket for my frontend. I will use this in a new session. Okay, and my first step is play with login function, and I will use Facebook for authentication with Spotify. Then this make a callback with the access token on my query string. This is for make a new request to API directly to Spotify, and this list is a suggested list from general selected by default is rock, and I can save this list to my Spotify account, my gray list. After that, we can see this great list on a playlist in Spotify account, workout, painting, and all these songs. Also, I have this button for add this to my recommended songs, so Omar liked songs on my Spotify account. So I can add any of these songs to this list. Also, I have current playing controls for make a play and pause my player controls on see what is my currently playing music. And also choose multiple genres like blues and bluegrass, black metal, and generate new recommended lists based on that genres. Okay, I will explain my project architecture. I have two projects, the API running on Node.js, and I have a Frontend running on React.js. My backend only has an index file and some unit testing. This index file has the API parameters for handle notification with Spotify, and only has 3 or 4 functions for make notification. One of these is logging, and this is making a request with certain permissions to my user account. And this have a callback. This callback is for handle the token response from API, from Spotify API, and that's it. And then I have Frontend is the project structure is that I have source. In my source I have all my components. I have some unit testing. So my main component on my first component is login, only has a button. In this button make a request to my API, my frontend, my backend API, and then make a login, and then make a request to index. Index is composed by the other components that you can see. For example, in my application, this section of here is currently playing control. Only has a title and artist and image that I can see right now. But this is my control component. Control component, play control, and this has my next and back and play button, and my button application bar is all this bar with this big pink button for get the new suggestions, and also have my top application bar is this part with the logout button for handle logout and clear my cookies. And things cool on this is maybe use AP sauce wrapper for make a API. So I read the documentation from Spotify and I get the parameters and create a very simple wrapper library and make this very easy for me. Okay, finally I will show my deployment process. I am using S3 for my front end, also Elastik Beanstalk for Node.js backend, CloudFront for optimization on my front end like HTTPS and other stuff, and Circle CI for automatic testing and deployment. As you can see, my commits show a green check. That means that it's all working fine.